On this Daily Dose series, we're looking at 5 Hebrew words that every Christian should know. When the Bible was originally written, it was written in 2 languages, Hebrew for the Old Testament and Greek for the New. Even when you read the Greek of the New, it often refers to the Hebrew of the Old Testament. When you and I read our Bibles, we're reading English translations, and so someone somewhere along the way had to choose the right word to put into the sentences that we read. I love the way that Dr. Chad Bird puts it when he says, reading the Bible through an English translation is like kissing a bride through her veil. So we're learning a few Hebrew words during this series so that we can understand more deeply the breadth, the beauty, the nuance, the depth of the Bible. Now, the word Ruach is actually the Hebrew word for spirit or breath or wind. Even when you say it, it requires some spirit, breath, and wind. Ruach. It engages your core and your lungs. Now, the first mention of the word Ruach in the Bible is actually in the very first chapter. In Genesis 1:2, it says, "And the earth was a formless and desolate emptiness, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. And the Spirit, the Ruach of God, the breath of God, the wind of God, was hovering over the darkness, hovering over the surface of the waters." Now, when the Bible translates Ruach into spirit, breath, or wind, which means that when we read our Bibles, we have to realize that sometimes when you see those verses, that they have something beautifully in common. When Ruach, described as the wind, like where it blows in John 3, chapter 8, the wind blows wherever it pleases, meaning you hear its sound, but you can't tell where it's coming from. You can actually switch that to the breath of God blows wherever it pleases, or the Spirit blows wherever it pleases. You can hear its sound, but you can't ever tell where it's coming from or where it's going. It's a beautiful way to think about God's work in the world. Or in Ezekiel's valley of dry bones, we hear the Ruach breathing breath back into the life of those bones. Now, what I love about Ruach is to think of God's Spirit like breath, or to think of God's Spirit like the air that surrounds us. Sometimes it can blow as strong as a hurricane or just brush us really lightly. But the truth is, there's nowhere you can go without it. It's always been there, and it always will be. God's Ruach, God's Spirit for you.